Throughout the story of Dragon Ball, one character in particular showed an insane amount of growth and character development, taking a complete 180 to become one of the Earth's and the universe's greatest heroes, bringing up a family and saving even beings from different planets from harm's reach. But Prince Vegeta, despite all his recent heroism later in his life, could never truly make up for what he did in his gruesome past. As a young child, Vegeta led a traumatizing life, seeing his own people enslaved while watching his only male role model, his father, become a pitiful servant to not one but two foreign invaders who completely outclassed him. He grew into a lifestyle where, despite being a prince, by the orders of someone else, he would destroy, murder, and pillage many strangers on many different planets. Millions of innocents were killed by his hand, and even after growing to be an adult and living on Earth, the extent of his evil never truly disappeared. And in today's video, we're gonna highlight 10 of Vegeta's most unforgivable acts, with number 1 being one of the most evil acts in all of anime history. But before we begin, today's video is sponsored by Frag Pro Shooter, one of the best shooter games of 2020 and probably now 2021. Designed from the ground up for your mobile device, with over 60 million players and 1 million people playing each and every day, the rules are easy. Collect characters who each have their own specific rules and powers, and then create a deck and build your own strategy to destroy the enemy bunkers. The game is constantly being updated, and each new version has a new fragger, like Stella, the Good Witch, who uses their upgraded broom to shoot exploding stars that do collateral damage. Rest assured you'll never get bored with 3 game modes featuring Payload, a mode where you have to be the first to escort your cart to victory. Join my club today called Call Me Arj to play with me, and download the game today using my link below to get free rewards of 1 golden chest, 500 coins, and 50 diamonds worth $6. Links in the description below and pinned comment, but now let's enjoy the video. Number 10. Kicking Dendi after he just finished healing him. Now this is probably one of those scenes a lot of us remember, just because it's one of those few scenes that fully implanted in our heads the idea of the Saiyan Zenkai boost and just how it could potentially be abused to power up a Saiyan in a short amount of time. In this scene, Frieza had arrived, and Vegeta, who believed he was the only hope to beat him, demanded first that Krillin blast him through his chest so that he could be near death, before then asking Dendi to heal him. Now, the problem is, Vegeta is the same guy who literally murdered Dendi's brothers and sisters only hours before. Like literally in violent and cold-hearted fashion. So understandably, Dendi wasn't too keen and actually took so much time to be convinced by Piccolo and Nail to help that Vegeta nearly died. Which, in this case of Zenkai Boost, probably helped Vegeta unknowingly. Anyway, after Dendi did Vegeta the massive favor of overcoming all his grief and sorrow to save the life of Vegeta, Vegeta stands up, impressed with his new power, and then proceeds to immediately kick Dendi to the ground as he yells, "Thanks." Not cool, Vegeta, not cool. Number 9. Murdering Bert and Raccoon when they were defenseless. Now, for a Saiyan warrior race who makes a big deal about pride, it really isn't very warrior-like to finish off your opponents who are already incapacitated and ones who weren't even taken down by yourself. But back in the day, Vegeta couldn't care less. After Raccoon finished beating Vegeta to a pulp, Goku arrived to save the day with Senzu beans and to show the results of his training, taking out Raccoon with practically one hit and also completely outclassing Berta too, the so-called fastest being in the universe. When the two villains were left on the ground completely defeated, Vegeta went on to kill both in actually some of the most violent fashions we've ever seen in Dragon Ball. First killing Berta by crushing his throat Mortal Kombat style before obliterating Raccoon into dust. And I mean, some would argue the way Raccoon beat down Vegeta, he deserved it, but the sheer evil and deranged happiness we see on Vegeta's face as he took their defenseless lives is still one that shocks today. Number 8. killing his childhood carer, friend and partner, Nappa. One of the most iconic scenes in Dragon Ball, but secretly also one of the most cold-hearted. You see, Nappa had been assigned the elite guard that followed Vegeta's every move ever since he was a little boy. From his young days training against Cybermen, to even at the point Planet Vegeta was completely destroyed, Nappa was there at the side of Vegeta. Even if Vegeta's cold heart, it's easy to assume that Nappa was in many ways either a second father figure, an older brother, or at the very least, a close friend to Vegeta. Obedient and polite always to his prince, Nappa never faltered in following the every desire of Vegeta. But in the end, when Goku arrived in the scene and seemingly broke the back of Nappa, when he confidently outstretched his hand to his prince, Vegeta grabbed his arm and threw him into the sky with that same deranged evil look and blasted him into oblivion without a care in the world. Decades of time spent together, erased in an instant, and what's worse, to this day, Vegeta has never once mentioned Nappa again. Number 7. Attacking and disregarding his own son who came from the future. This is pretty bad even by Dragon Ball dad standards, and when future Trunks arrived from the future, he already came from what I would say is the most traumatic timeline in history. In his timeline, every single Z fighter apart from Gohan died to the androids, including his father. All he had was his mother Bulma, who he lived in fear with constantly, knowing any day now the androids could arrive to take her away from him too. Despite this, Trunks would ask his mum often about his father, the Prince of all Saiyans, and Trunks forever wished to one day meet him and learn just what kind of man he was. Unfortunately, however, Vegeta learns Trunks is his son and doesn't care at all. He punches him in the gut when Trunks tries to prevent him from getting beat up by Android 18, and then literally tells him to go away and leave him alone for an entire year in the hyperbolic time chamber, before threatening him later again when Trunks smartly attempts to stop Cell from becoming perfect. Great parenting skills all around. Number 6. Knocking Goku out from behind. Now, we're gonna leave the whole getting controlled by Babidi thing for later in the video, as there's a lot of evil that happens there too. But this moment, which happened after a long-awaited battle between Goku and Vegeta, which by the way resulted in Buu being revived, is often forgotten as one of the most selfish things Vegeta ever did. Most fans actually only remember the fact that Vegeta heroically took on Buu and blew himself up in an effort to beat him. But people forget that the reason Vegeta knocked out Goku was so that Goku didn't hog all the limelight once again. Vegeta wanted to be the one that saved everyone. For whatever reason, Vegeta was tired of Goku being the savior and selfishly attempted to take on Buu himself. It's well known that Goku was planning on the two of them eating Senzu and fighting Buu together, which we actually know from the anime. If they did do that, they would have won, with Goku in Super Saiyan 3 form. Goku literally said in the anime that he could have beaten Fat Buu by himself as a Super Saiyan 3, but he wanted the younger generation to gain the power to protect themselves. A Super Saiyan 3 and a Majin Super Saiyan 2 would have saved the Earth and the universe a whole lot of pain. But no, Vegeta just had to let his Saiyan pride and arrogance take over him in the end. Number 5. Letting Cell achieve his perfect form. A lot of people would place this at number 1, but I assure you, the number 1 spot we've picked trumps even this. But regardless, this was just one of the greatest and biggest L's Vegeta could have ever had. So many things were off and wrong here, but it all begins when you realize that when Vegeta walked out of the hyperbolic time chamber, he had accomplished what he sought to accomplish this entire time. He had become, for a brief moment, for just under a day, the strongest person on Earth. Stronger than Goku, stronger than Trunks as revealed by Perfect Cell later on, and of course, stronger than Semi-Perfect Cell. He at that point, with ease, could have absolutely destroyed Cell and all the androids together without breaking a sweat. But with just a little hint of power, Vegeta's cocky Saiyan instinct and love for humiliating opponents had to come out in the form of letting Cell absorb 18, bringing about a significantly greater threat upon the world than anyone had ever expected or needed to deal with. Number 4. Letting Babidi control him on purpose. Now by this time in Dragon Ball Z, Vegeta has had some time to change. Not only did he help defeat Perfect Cell, but he had literally started a real family with Bulma, with a son who he truly loved and trained with. Despite this, when the opportunity came for Vegeta to re-unlock his evil side and gain a little power boost in the process, he took it with both arms. All just so he could finally prove he was stronger than Goku and rematch him. In the process, killing people, upsetting everyone, and also causing the revival of Boo. That's a lot of unforgivable acts, all for the sake of Saiyan pride. Number 3. Killing entire villages of innocent Namekians to find the Dragon Balls. Now, this was just heartless, but once again, Vegeta was at his pinnacle of evilness. He arrives at the peaceful village where the elders are literally planting and the children are studying, and immediately demands the Dragon Balls before attempting to assassinate the village elder, leading to one of the younger adults jumping in the way to save him and dying instead. Slowly but surely, Vegeta then annihilates the entire village, children and old people alike, leaving only the village elder behind to take in the fact his whole family is gone. To the end, the Namekian refuses to tell Vegeta where the Dragon Ball is, and Vegeta responds by obliterating him, while he holds another toddler Namekian in his hands. Number 2. Killing hundreds of innocents at the World Tournament, including almost his own wife. So yes, this is one of the things that happened after Vegeta purposely let himself get controlled by Babidi. In order for Vegeta to prove that he was serious about fighting Goku and couldn't be turned back, Vegeta resorted to his old self and immediately, without care and without even looking, blasted a massive section of the tournament, instantly ending the lives of hundreds of men, women and children, just narrowly missing Bulma and some of the Z fighters too. With the iconic evil deranged look in his face, Bulma notices that Vegeta is responsible and faints from the shock of realizing the father of her child had not changed at all. Number 1. Here we go, a story involving Vegeta and Nappa that not many people remember or even realized happened. While finding planets to scavenge, Vegeta and Nappa land on planet Alia and are immediately found by a patrolling guard. At first they were going to destroy him, but Vegeta decides to let him imprison both he and Nappa. While in prison, they learn planet Alia is actually in the midst of a civil war, and the old king was overthrown by an evil one, who stole the previous king's wife. Vegeta and Nappa, being the kind-hearted fellows that they are, end up killing the new evil king, and destroying all his men, thus freeing the old king. As the king comes out, thanking them for all they've done and the new bright future they brought for the planet of Alia, Vegeta and Nappa leave without a word. The king then heartbreakingly finally sees his wife after all these years in captivity, and as they run towards each other, finally getting closer to embrace each other, just as they almost touch, Vegeta decides on a whim to completely annihilate planet Alia, destroying it and all its people forever, in an instant. And the king never again was able to see or hug his wife ever again. But that was it for today's video, guys. If you made it this far, leave me a hashtag Vegeta in the comments down below. If you have any more examples of evil or unforgivable things Vegeta did, let us know and we might just make another video with your suggestions included. But for more Dragon Ball, anime and manga content, click on one of these two videos on the right now. Until next video, guys, cheers.